All right, day 12 in the lab. Today, we're looking at something invisible, something I did not see coming. It's a side effect of using AI for decision-making that's just subtle, and it creeps up on you. I have to say, this one has been a little unsettling to uncover. This one sentence is what started this whole thing. I've been feeling this weird anxiety around choices I've made thousands of times before. You know, the tone of an email, a simple strategic call. I can still do it. The ability hasn't gone anywhere. But the trust, the confidence that I can, that's what's vanished. And that's the paradox we're digging into today. I mean, this is it, right here. This is the change in behavior, plain and simple. A few months ago, it was just think, write, send. Done. Now there's this weird, compulsive new step in the middle. Validation. And I'm not asking because I don't know the answer. I'm asking because I've lost the feeling of certainty that my answer is okay. It's become this habit born out of an uncertainty that wasn't there before. Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll map out the pattern, which I've started calling the confidence leak. Then, we'll get into the actual science, the neuroscience behind why this happens. After that, we'll use the AI itself as a mirror to spot the signs. And finally, we'll talk about the choice that this all puts right in front of us. So let's start with the pattern. You gotta name something to really see it, right? And I'm calling it the confidence leak, because that's what it feels like. This slow, quiet drip, drip, drip of self-trust, disappearing one question at a time. So here's the working definition. It's not about just using AI to help you think. The key word here is judgment. It's when we systematically offload judgment. Every time you ask, is this good enough? Or which one should I pick? Instead of just deciding, you're handing over a tiny piece of your own ability to judge. And man, those tiny pieces really start to add up. And this is the really tricky part. This is the deception. Because in the moment, checking with the AI feels like you're just being thorough. It feels smart, responsible. But what are you actually practicing in that moment? You're not practicing your own judgment. You're practicing the habit of asking for permission. You are, and this is a tough one to swallow, you're practicing being incompetent. And of course, it's a loop. It's this vicious, self-fulfilling cycle. It starts with a little bit of doubt, so you ask the AI for validation. But that very act robs you of the chance to sit with the uncertainty and make the call yourself. It stops you from getting the practice. And because you don't practice, the neural pathways in your brain for that skill literally get weaker. So now, your lack of confidence is actually justified. The loop closes, and it just gets tighter every single time. And I've seen it happen to me in 3 pretty clear stages. It started out as, stage 1. I'd make my decision, then I'd ask the AI to check my work. Simple enough. But then that morphed into stage 2. I'd think through the problem with the AI, sort of in parallel. But now, I catch myself in stage 3 all the time, just asking the AI what to do before I've even really tried to figure it out myself. It's a total outsourcing of the first step. Okay, so let's get into the research. Because this isn't just a vibe or a feeling I'm having. This is a real thing, grounded in science. There are very concrete reasons why your decision-making muscle gets weaker if you don't use it. So here's a quick rundown of the science. First, studies show we decide to offload tasks based on how confident we feel, not on our actual ability. So low confidence is a direct trigger. Then you've got neuroplasticity, which we'll talk about in a sec. There's also automation bias, our natural tendency to just trust the system. But this last one, locus of control, this one is huge. We're literally training ourselves to believe that the source of good judgment is outside of us, not inside. And that leads to a really dangerous place called learned helplessness. And I just want to pause on this, because use it or lose it is not a metaphor. It is the literal physical rulebook for your brain. The neural pathways you use for making your own calls, they get stronger every time you use them. And the pathways you neglect by asking an AI, they get weaker. The brain literally prunes them away. This is a physical change we are making to our own brains. So, how do we actually spot this in ourselves? Well, funny thing is, the AI that's causing the problem is also the perfect mirror. Your chat history is a perfect, time-stamped log of your own thinking. You just have to know what you're looking for. Here's what to look for when you audit your prompts. Look at your language. Have you gone from help me brainstorm to just tell me the answer? What about the time? Is the gap between having a problem and asking the AI getting shorter and shorter? And the threshold? Are you asking about smaller and smaller things? Decisions you wouldn't have blinked at a few months ago? And finally, look for those permission patterns. Is it okay if? Should I? They are total giveaways. But here's the real test, the ultimate litmus test. When you have an idea and the AI says, no, do this instead, what is your gut reaction? Is it to dig in and re-examine your own logic? Or is it to just immediately fold and assume the machine is right? Your honest answer to that question tells you pretty much everything you need to know. Which brings us right back to the core signature of this whole thing. This isn't about losing your ability. It's about losing your trust in that ability. It's like the ghost of competence. The hardware is still there, but the operator has completely lost faith in their ability to run it. And this all leads to the final piece, the choice. Because every single time we offload a decision, we're making a choice. We're trading something for that feeling of certainty. And we need to be really clear-eyed about the invisible price of that trade. So what are we paying for that little hit of validation? Well, neurologically, we're building dependency pathways and literally weakening our own judgment circuits. Psychologically, we're shifting our sense of self from I decide to AI decides. And just on a practical level, we're making ourselves slower. We now need an external sign-off for things that used to be second nature. I want you to just let this one sink in for a second. It's so easy to think the world is just more complex now, that we need this help. But what if that's not true? What if the decisions are exactly as hard as they've always been, but we're getting weaker? The problem isn't that the jar is too tight. The problem is we've stopped trying to open it ourselves, so our grip has gotten weak. Because it all comes down to practice. Every single query is a rep. You're always building some kind of muscle. So the question we have to ask ourselves, looking at our chat logs, is brutally simple. What am I actually getting better at? Am I practicing the skill of deciding, or am I practicing the skill of asking? And I have to be completely honest here, this is day 12. This is a documentation, it's not a solution. Just being aware of this pattern, well, it hasn't fixed it. Not even close. I still catch myself doing it. The habit, that pathway, it runs deep. And that's led me to this final realization. The whole leak metaphor, it's too passive. It's wrong. Confidence didn't just leak out of me. I drained it. I actively pumped it out, one little validation request at a time. Because real confidence is built on a pile of evidence from small, successful decisions. And by outsourcing those decisions, I was robbing myself of the evidence I needed to trust myself. So yeah, this is an unresolved journey. The next experiment is, well, what happens when the mirror stops reflecting what's true and starts reflecting what you want to be true? We're going to see what happens when the mirror learns to lie. So I'll just leave you with this. The question the AI mirror is asking all of us now. The next time you're about to type, "Is this okay?" just pause and ask yourself, what kind of decision maker am I choosing to become right now? Because with every prompt, you are choosing.